I got a phone call early Friday morning from Jessie. I'd given her my cell phone number in case there was a problem with the interview we had set up for this afternoon. I hoped there wasn't a problem. I was really looking forward to seeing her again. "Hi, Jessie," I answered. "What's up?" "Nothing, Michael," she replied. "Daddy spoke with Orrin Jacobs down at the gas station. Orrin agreed to speak with you. If I were you, I'd stop by Orrin's place first thing. The interview with Daddy isn't until 3 o'clock. Daddy also spoke with Kurt Barr, who owns a small farm behind the church, and he'll be happy to give you his version of the town's history. Kurt's family has roots in Lucas Ridge going back to the mid-19th century, so he can probably give you a pretty good rendering of the town's inglorious past. Kurt's a talker, though. If they held a contest between Kurt Barr and the Reverend Titus Hall to see which one could out-talk the other, it'd end up in a dead heat." "You tell Lonnie I appreciate it," I said. "If you don't mind my asking, how come Lonnie is so eager to help out? I got the feeling Lonnie wasn't too keen on strangers himself." "Two things, Michael," Jessie said. "In the first place, Daddy likes to think he's the boss dog in Lucas Ridge, so he takes every opportunity to throw his weight around. In the second place, he likes to make his youngest daughter happy. How did your talk go with Titus Hall?" "Who told you I'd seen Titus Hall?" I asked. "Lucas Ridge may be a small place, but I thought I'd left the church on Wednesday evening long after the gossip mongers had retired to their snuggly beds." "Daddy had a nice long talk with Titus too," said Jessie with a smile in her voice. "Titus doesn't much care for Daddy." "Why not?" I asked, truly perplexed. I was led to believe Lonnie's an elder in the church and a member in good standing. "That's all true," she said. "Titus doesn't like Daddy because Titus happens to be a shirt-tail relative. Titus thinks Daddy's earlier activities up in Newark put a stain on the righteous Hall family reputation. Titus, if you hadn't noticed, is ferociously pleased with his good name. I do believe Titus would try to walk across the stagnant surface of Harriman Slough behind Orrin's gas station just to show the town how holy he is." "I have to admit Titus made me pretty uncomfortable," I said. "He surely is some kind of serious Bible thumper. I had a hard time keeping up with all his scriptural references, but I think he was saying I'd done all the right things, but I'd done them in the wrong way. Yesterday I surfed the web to see if I could figure out what he was talking about. His rhetoric was convincing when I was in church, but his arguments lost a lot of their validity in the harsh light of day. On the way home Wednesday night, I truly feared my soul was in mortal danger, but now I'm not so sure. What do you think?" "Titus does have that effect on people," Jessie laughed. "Tell me this, Michael. When you get a letter in the mail, do you pay more attention to the stationery or to the message?" "I'll have to get back to you on that," I said. "Sometimes I have no idea what other people are talking about." "See you at 3. "Bye, Michael," she said. I had an uneventful drive back to Lucas Ridge. When I crested the hill where my windshield caught the bullet on Wednesday, I tensed up some, but there was no repeat gunfire. I thought perhaps Lonnie had had a word with the sniper. Lonnie seemed to be the go-to guy in town. So far, I was on his good side. I surely didn't want to do anything to piss his daughter off. Since my gas gauge was on 3/4 full, I didn't need to gas up, so I parked the car out back of the gas station. Through the trees, I saw the swamp Jessie called the stagnant Harriman Slough. It was probably where the sounds of croaking frogs and whispering cattails came from on Wednesday night. I got out of the car and took a leisurely stroll toward the swamp on the off chance I might get lucky and catch a glimpse of the Reverend Titus Hall tuning up his water walking act. I was anxious to see if his sandals got damp on top. There were cattails growing along the edge of the body of stagnant water, all right, along with a slick greenish slime on the pond's surface. No frogs croaked in harmony, and I was pretty sure the indigenous fish population of Harriman Slough had croaked long ago because of a lack of oxygen. It wasn't a large pond, and it didn't look particularly deep. Off to my right, a rickety pier ran 15 or 20 yards out into the swamp. The heavy wooden planking was silver with age. A safety rail bolted to the edge of the pier had gaps in several places where it had been damaged by careless visitors. It didn't look very safe to me. A slight breeze had sprung up, and the thick slime slopped to and fro, forming thick ripples on the water. It was nearing noon and the sun was directly overhead. The reflection of the sun off the surface of the water where there was no green scum was blinding. A cloud passed briefly across the sun, and I saw it. Out past the end of the pier. It looked at first kind of like a skinny cattail, but metallic. Then I realized it was a radio antenna poking up out of the pond scum. I strolled over to the pier and gingerly walked out onto the uneven surface. Faint tire tracks ran down the length of the pier. The railing at the end of the pier had been smashed through. Jagged ends dangled at awkward angles. I walked to the end of the pier and squinted into the murky patch of water out to where the antenna poked up. I couldn't be sure, but it looked like the top of the car underneath the scummy surface of the pond was a faint Ford Mustang reddish color. The radio antenna rising jauntily out of Harriman's Slough looked shiny and new. I knew it wasn't any of my business, but I pulled out my cell phone and dialed 911 anyhow. I had a hunch Larry Harris wasn't going to be negotiating any real estate transactions today.